Well, we're back again. I don't know what I'm
Oh
gonna
boy.
do.
Fucking internet service providers
Yeah.
not working.
Just one of those things. It's not your fault, Flame Loud. It's the internet's fault. And by the internet, I mean my internet provider, so nothing to worry about. And it's weird because it's not picking up Flame Loud's message on the chat now.
Oh boy.
Well, that's why I have this thing open in my other window here.
I will keep a very close eye on the streams on both ends.
Oh, looks like most everyone's back. Anyway, sorry, internet providers having an issue. Also, my comment earlier about steaks is not about well done steak. You still have to cook your steak all the way through, even if it's medium rare or rare.
Yeah, you still gotta cook it.
You still gotta cook
though
it.
if you cook your steaks well done, you're a monster.
Then I'm a monster. I don't care. I like well done steak. Regardless, I'm not here to oh my god.
Steak shame.
Steak shame anyone. My brain is just like, ah man, things aren't going well. Time to shut down. I need you. Yes. Players making characters and pushing for character development way earlier than they should. It just comes from, one, people are innately like to rush their characters. People don't have any patience in general.
True.
But two, even with the best of patience, right? Like, I would say a character arc needs a good 20-30 sessions to go through. That's a lot of time. It's a lot of hours. And in real time, like, that's months and months of time. People don't like waiting.
Nope. But you gotta let that character simmer for a bit.
You do. You have to have those flashback moments that people look back and they're like, oh, I see. It started so early. We just couldn't see it. Those kind of moments. Or even just those moments of just like the regret of the character it could have been had things had gone better. Or the knowledge that things could have gone way worse.
True.
So, the best characters are built over time, stacked one piece at a time. But that's only relevant if you like narrative style characters. Some people literally just make builds to test their efficacy and to see if it works, or they just want to mess around with a particular mechanic.
Yeah. I know, and I play in games with people like that.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes I like to do like proto characters. Like, I have an idea for a character, but I want to test their build out before I actually like implement it into the character in full. As a DM, I get that privilege because I have a bunch of characters I can just throw at you. But not everyone quite has that chance.
Nah, it's hard to do on the player side. Unless you're swapping out characters like every few sessions.
But I don't know. How often would you say you look at like Archive of Nethys or Path Builder to craft a character, or just, you know, like to idly think about a character?
I would say usually I go through Path Builder like on average like once a week. Sometimes more on like a week, sometimes less. Like accounting for that, I have a lot of builds in my Path Builder. A lot.
Oh my goodness! It reverted the title back for the stream. It was correct before.
So went back to the fucking like,
yeah, the YouTube one went back to the session 01.
Jeez.
Is the Twitch one that way too?
No, Twitch says it's Table Talk. Good old YouTube. What the fuck is this build I made? 1 second. I made a build that's referencing something I don't remember. I have a partial build in my fucking Path Builder that's titled Majima in that one cutscene. Obviously Yakuza inspired. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. So it's a monk with monastic weaponry, weapon improviser dedication, improvised pummel, Titan wrestler. What the? It's not even done. It's set to level 10, but I didn't even do all of it. What the fuck is what cutscene am I referencing?
That sounds like some note taking of yours, honestly.
I mean, yeah. This is very strange. Like, I don't remember making this either. This is relatively recent too. That was created on November 30th. I have no clue what that was.
And Flame Loud, anything other than just the title messing up? I haven't muted, so y'all don't hear my voice getting multiplied. And hello, Nakitsune. Welcome to the live stream.
I wanted to say hello too, but I was terrified of mispronouncing that name.
Well, yeah, but Alex, no one expects anything out of you, so you can say it however you want.
I'm free to do what I wish in this community.
Yeah.
I rule over.
You have some power in your mediocrity.
Haha. Some power. I feel like my two expectations in this is edit videos and talk Warhammer. That's it.
No, you're also my audience stand-in.
There we go. Those are my three expectations this community, and I wouldn't want it any other way.
It's good. That's why you're here.
Perfect.
That's why you're making the metaphorical dollars.
Hell yeah. Paid in exposure, baby.
Paid in exposure. Eventually, hopefully, in real monies.
Yeah.
As soon as I'm paid in real monies enough, then y'all get paid in real monies.
Yeah. For now I'll just help you out. Let me see if there's any more. I'm gonna look through my Path Builder while you... Like, I want to see if there's any more fucking, like, weird names or stuff I came up with.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's not really a setting for the delay on YouTube. I have my settings already set for as minimal delay as possible. It's just YouTube's end, or it's Streamlabs communication to YouTube. either way.
So it seems like I've built in my path builder. I have made a bunch of characters where I name it something and then I do nothing with it. I have a few that's like that, where I just didn't delete it. I have a lot that are just named Unknown Adventurer, because that's the default name in Path Builder. Let's see. Yeah, I did build Virgil from the McCry on a car ride. I should
That's
go back
good.
and look at that.
We were talking about that one
Yeah.
at one point. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what prompted me to like actually sit down and do it. I have a level 1 Magus named Geralt that I guess I tried to build Geralt, then never messed with it again. And I have one. I have a this called myself out. I do have a build in here that's just titled Space Marine, where I tried to build a Space Marine and then found out there's not a lot of great options for it that I can find.
Yeah, I would imagine in standard Pathfinder for now.
Yeah, I wanted to have a Barbarian Space Marine, but I don't know. I was messing with that. Like, you'd have to do some like inventor stuff or get very creative and like use feats that I don't know exist.
That's just an interesting way to use Path Builder. Have a good idea what your players want to do as they get going.
That was a very good idea.
Yes, the Book of the Dead is going to be very interesting. I'm very excited for that book. We're actually talking about it on the Session 0 because we were talking about Geb, and it's a city of the undead. And so the Book of the Undead, which allows for undead creation, will offer some interesting campaign ideas.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. I didn't know that was the thing that was coming out. I learned of it today when it was mentioned in the Discord.
I've mentioned it before.
I don't.
It's the Gravelands book. It's the same book.
I don't. You might have mentioned it in passing, and I might have just assumed that was a thing that existed. We didn't talk about it like we did with Guns and Gears. Probably because this undead book doesn't have guns in it.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, that's probably why you don't remember.
Probably. Like, if you said, oh yeah, by the way, a main build in that book is there's a lich wielding, like, a gun, I'd be like, ooh, real shit?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of very interesting character builds out there, and I think everyone, even if you have a particular character style, I think everyone makes varying kinds of builds, like theory builds, what if builds, just to be like, I wonder how close I could make this character in this system, and then you make it and you're like, oh, pretty close. I'll never actually play this character, but yeah. I have a lot of builds too that I've been just like working on, where I'm just like trying to find ways to make it work. Like the gunslinger I've been bringing up all the time, my automaton, and then I've been really trying to find a really interesting martial artist fighter, because I want to play a martial artist who uses untrained weapon improvisation like archetype. I really want to play that. I just need to find ways that are interesting and can do some really fun stuff. Those are like 3 builds that I've been just fiddling with endlessly for like a good few months. Oh, one way you could go about doing it. I mean, it depends on if you want to go pure hand-to-hand or not.
Pure hand-to-hand that picks up like a fucking like a lamp and then beats you with it.
Well, so here's a good one, right? You take like monk, any monk build really will do. But instead of like picking up monk feats, you pick up barbarian dedication. And then in your free archetype, you pick up weapon improviser. And then you take rage thrower from barbarian and the one that lets you toss like big objects.
Shit, I know I edited that in to like your video. One second, let me look at my repertoire of screenshots. I can find it.
We'll race. We'll see who finds it first.
Shit. Throw. Raging Thrower?
Raging Thrower is the one that adds your rage to it.
I wish I named them their actual feat names. Oversized Throw.
Oversized Throw. You found it first.
There it is. I named it Oversize.
Yeah, because then what you can do. One, you can rage. So you have a character who's sturdy, does more damage melee, and just needs to punch things, which is exactly what you're doing. And then two, you can pick up not only random objects and use them and throw them at people, you can also pick up bigger objects that do a set amount of damage and also add your rage damage to it.
Very fun. I'll have to look into that. That sounds like a pretty good time.
Monk build. I really need to play a monk at some point. Monks are really, really cool. There's so many good character builds out there. I'm happy I'm getting to live up my investigator lifestyle. I never thought I was going to turn investigator into an assassin, but that's what I've done in Suzanne's game. Not really an assassin, but like he can drop like 60 damage with a single shot if we start if he's hiding and in cover and initiates the combat with that shot.
Very fun.
It's really good.
I have the build. I just came up with an idea that like wouldn't make it really a build, and also this is gonna be my way of asking you if this is okay to do down the line. Sure. So the time traveler automaton character I made up,
right?
The arcane recovery unit. I was thinking instead of making like a set build, because I've had like issues just like finding like a set thing I want them to do, because there's like a bunch of really fun like stuff I could have a robot fighter or like just a robot combat like recovery unit. But what if instead every time he reappears he's a different class, because he swaps out like body parts for a new like just swap out new parts, get some better equipment, like that kind of deal.
Actually, that'd be really fun. Especially because there's different automaton builds that do different things, like the mage automaton and the warrior automaton, and there's two more like types. There's the sniper automaton and the last one I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, like, I guess the question is just like, for flair purposes, just having the same character reappearing, quote unquote, but everything's different. They're essentially a different character with the same name.
Kinda, and like the other concept with them already was like, they'd be one of the characters I'd want to reappear all the time in like your living world, and so like sometimes they'll like, oh hey, it's this character from like a previous adventure, and my character's like, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. Like we probably met at a future for like a future time loop for this for the robot, or later on down the line, like, oh yeah, I know who you are. Like, oh yeah, I remember you. You were in my last jump. Like that kind of deal. Like it just comes back because of time traveling shenanigans. Also, I will mention Living Monolith Monk is a great time. I really like the Living Monolith stuff. It's super cool.
It is really cool.
It's just really cool.
Yeah, I mean, oh no, it's up to you, Alex. You gotta make the character interesting enough for me to have the desire to have them keep reappearing. So
I'll come.
It's more on you than anything.
Probably, I'll have to come up with something. I want to play a gunslinging robot.
Be good. You know what I really like is the combi weapons with the idea of the automaton, because the automaton can incorporate it into their body.
Yeah.
So they can have a weapon that's both an axe and a rifle.
That's one of my favorite bits about the automaton is like merging weapons like into them. I think it's super cool.
Yeah, we currently have in Suzanne's game our automaton tax collector that has like his fists detach and turn into a meteor hammer. So
Very.
there's a lot of really fun ones. There's, I don't know, there's a lot of great character builds, and actually it's funny, recently, I know we were talking during Halo that like we were talking about like whether I should run like a homebrew world or anything like that, and at least Vale was saying like, oh yeah, if you ran a homebrew world, I'd like it way more than Pathfinder.
I said that too.
And it's funny because when we started on Tuesday for the session 0, I was like, okay guys, I can either run Galarian, I can do a homebrew world, or I could test run you guys through this game system that I'm making that has been turning out really good. It was that same idea I was telling you about. And they're like, no, let's do Galarian stuff. And I was like, okay. Just one of those things where everyone just has different styles, I guess.
Yeah. I always prefer homebrew stuff. Because I think it's way more fun than like base lore from a system.
Yeah, no, don't worry, Slag. Don't feel bad about it. I gave you all the choice from 3 equal choices, I find Galarian stuff interesting, and I want to, get into it if my players are into it. The whole point of me asking in the first place is to make sure you were playing the game that you wanted to play. It's all I'm here as the DM to do, really. And some people just, have different kinds of ideas and quirks when it comes to character creation. I homebrew, but I homebrew around a system. Well, that's the thing, is that at the beginning, all the characters are just mercenaries for the game world I was designing. The first 10, whatever sessions when the characters discover magic, your characters are mostly mercenaries. There was a support build I did with Suzanne, where her character was a biomedic who worked on body augments specifically. And she had like, I call them exos, which there's 2 type of augments. There's internal body augments, like, synthetic parts of your body. And then there's like exo power suit stuff you can have. And she had eyes that could bring up the internet, and she had goggles that could see inside of people, x-ray style, and could automatically detect anything wrong with the body. So she made like a battle medic dual gunner character. So there was like some support builds, but the whole point of the beginning chapter was not it's not the game as a whole. It's an introduction to the game where the characters are discovering it, and it's helping building lore by having actual players organically discover the lore bits, rather than just having a narrative for it. But, and I guess that brings up another good point as well. 5e, Pathfinder 2e, and Anima all have different ways of building characters. And you've made characters now for each of these systems pretty significantly at this point.
True.
What character build system have you enjoyed the most?
Pathfinder.
Because
it's made for... 5e is too simple for my tastes. Anima isn't made for any, like, regular person. Because the shit in Anima makes no fucking sense.
Anima wasn't made for normal people.
No. It's made for weirdos who lurk on forums talking about character builds, the ones I keep finding whenever I try to Google Anima help and then realize it was a useless effort. Pathfinder is functional, makes sense, makes logical sense, and is easy to use. 5e is too easy.
I'll have to agree for the most part. I like anima because you can literally do anything you want.
Oh yeah, that's the fun thing. The process of learning how to make a character in anima is like pulling your teeth out.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can do anything you want in anima, but you'll be sitting there doing math for a really long time to make sure that your character is functional as well.
And then you need to make sure your character's functional, because if you don't, they're gonna just be absolutely useless. That's anima like build system.
Yeah, but Pathfinder, it's really hard to make a bad character in Pathfinder. And the system allows you to do a lot of things, especially when you start using things like free archetype, which really opens up your doors.
A almost necessary rule.
I would say yes. I would say it dramatically improves the gameplay.
Oh shit, we have someone with animal experience now? Hell yeah.
A literal mat. I don't know what a mat is.
I just see playing a caster in anima, and that's just a recipe for disaster.
Oh, you're talking about the meta magics. I mean, it really depends on your group. You don't have to do the meta magic stuff for. You don't really have to. I mean, well, again, it depends on your group. If you want to play super optimal or the whole party's being optimal, then yes, you do have to. But if everyone's just casually having fun with anima, then no, you don't even have to even look at it.
Unless, I don't know, I haven't looked at meta magic. It could be fun for people.
It's just number crunching. It's just optimizing your magic in different ways.
Okay. I mean, anima is already really, I find really funny because the amount of just extra bits to your character sheet you need. Or in some case, here's the monster manual. This is my character sheet if you're playing a summoner.
Well, so Flama, I'm talking about like if you know what what you want to do and you're building towards it. Yes, anyone can intentionally nerf their character into the ground, even in Pathfinder. What I'm saying is, if you know what you want to do and you at least like try to go in that direction, your character will always turn out fine.
And if you have a good DM, they should help you out and be like, I don't like this thing I'm doing. Okay, here's a way we can change it. Like, yeah. Pathfinder seems very modular, so it seems pretty simple to just swap stuff out.
And I'd highly disagree, Nagetsu. Or Nagetsune. But, you know, different games, different styles, I'm sure. Plus, we don't even play anima as it's written.
Nope.
It's been altered enough that I could barely call it the same game. But yeah, and I'll agree that I think Pathfinder is the better system as far as character creation, purely because a lot of it's laid out for you. A lot of it's done in bite-sized chunks. Like even the steps of character creation, the ABCs of character creation, a lot of it is just done in super easy to digest bits.
Yeah, normally you just gotta pick like one or two abilities.
Well, like per part, like it's like ancestry. All right, you gotta pick like your ancestry. That's like the hardest it gets, or picking like what class you want to play. Like the very general things is difficult, but then after that it's like, okay, here's your ancestry. Maybe you pick a versatile heritage. Pick a feat. You have like 6 feat choices or more, depending on if you go versatile or not. Background can also be a little daunting, but like once you actually know like the kind of things you want to pick, or like once you actually are at the class level, then it's easy, because like when you level up, it's like, okay, I get to pick from like 7 feats, or I get to pick like feats from just the skill feats tab or whatever, or I get to pick from the list of general feats. Like, it tells you specifically where you want to go and what you're picking up. I find it just infinitely easier. Anima's just a lot of math, and 5th edition is not, you don't make any choices. The only choices you make in 5th edition are your class and your race, and then after that, your choices are, do you want to keep playing that class, or do you want a multi-class? In which case, I guess it has a lot of options, because every time you level up, you get to pick from any of the classes what you want to level into. And there's some people that argue that 5th edition has very difficult character creation if you want to truly optimize.
I mean, I've seen some weird optimized builds for 5e. Just looks like a lot of work.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, no matter what game... yeah. You can pick a feat or stat boost.
Honestly, I feel like 5e would become an infinitely better system if they just made a thing where you can just get free feats.
I mean, there's a lot of different rules that people have made that work well with it.
I feel like in just anything I've played in, something that just gives you feats, like, it's just infinitely better.
Yeah, I agree. I would say 5th edition's biggest problems is they focus super heavily on the, like, character cookie cutter builds, where you pick a class and a subclass, and then that's the track you're on, unless you multi-class. And then you're just cutting your cookie cutter and then putting other cookie cutter bits onto it. And that's your character choice. And I don't know. Like, in 5th edition, I never feel like I could be a fighter medic character. I would be a fighter with cleric levels, or a fighter with whatever kind of class can give me medic-like stuff, you know. But in Pathfinder, I legitimately feel like I could play a full, true, and actual fighter who also is a medic, you know.
Yeah, there's not much, like, just medic shit in 5e. You gotta be kind of religious if you want to heal people. I have to look into the coffee lock build. That sounds like a really weird, like, build, and sounds really funny.
Yeah, and the healers, like, you can't be a viable non-magical healer in 5e.
Nope.
It's just not possible. In Pathfinder, I will say, so no one gets confused, a cleric is always going to be a better healer no matter what. But if you want to go a not magical healer, it's still really viable. You can get some really good heals out of it. And yes, whenever we're referring to Pathfinder, we're talking Pathfinder 2e. This is not a Pathfinder 1e channel. And it really is, Fine Mouth. You're correct. Yeah. It's pretty terrible. But, you know, that's the thing, is just in a lot of 5e, the interesting thing that comes with 5e is that they do come with some very interesting subclasses. 5e does bring a lot of flavor to some of the choices you make.
Oh yeah, some of the subclasses are awesome. I love, aesthetically, one of the new subclasses they did, the Oath of the Watcher Paladin. That is such a cool concept for a paladin, of instead of like typically fighting like undead or fiends, you're fighting like just anything that is not native to the material plane. That is such a cool like character concept. Also, I'm a big fan of like the idea of a secret society paladin order.
And then they have a lot of other ones, like they have like the Eldritch Blade Rogue or whatever. A lot of the Warlock packs have been very interesting that they've come out with.
The Undead one's pretty cool.
Like a lot of it has a lot of really good flavor and can be very inspiring for character creation.
Oh yeah.
A lot of the reasons why I think we both pick Pathfinder overall is just you can do a lot of things no matter what class you pick. Like, you can be a wizard, and no matter how many choices you make, you're still going to be a wizard at the end of the day and have all the wizard capabilities, no matter how many extra feats you take from other classes and other kinds of things like that. And that's what's interesting. You want to play a raging barbarian divination wizard? You can do it. You can make stuff like that work because of how the archetypes work and how certain other feats work, and you can kind of pick and choose feats from other classes in a way that's not necessarily breaking the game either. For the most part, I'm sure there's definitely some broken builds out there.
Oh yeah, I imagine.
Well, technically, Paizo's Warlock is the Witch class. Only not. They're the same thing because aesthetically, because they have patrons and they gain special magics and everything like that. But there's not really a Witch Blade build type for Witch. You could do it, but there's not like, it's not like intrinsic as the Blade Lock is to Blade Lock.
I mean, you're correct, Flamelaw. There is a feat in 5e to let you heal with the healer's kit, but it is garbage.
I believe that's what they're saying.
Yeah. That is completely true.
And yeah, that's the thing. Is this like in Pathfinder, non-magical healing? Not only is it a viable character build, but they have lore surrounding it. There's a particular character in the Legends book who is striving to make non-magical healing like a big thing. And then there's just like straight up alchemy. And like, I love the fact that in Pathfinder, alchemy is like a legitimately really strong thing. And it contends with magic in a lot of ways. And even though like the magic healing potions heal a bit more, I like the idea of science combating magic from the underdog position. Where magic is a super convenient thing that's really strong, but like science is coming up from behind and nearly competing with it and surpassing it in some areas. Like, I like that kind of outlook on it, you know. And it's like the Alchemist. The Alchemist can be a really good healer, but even the healing Alchemist can still do other alchemy things like throw bombs or make poisons, you know.
I mean, the character type of the like inventor, scientist, arcanist, whatever, like very upset about magic is a very fun character type. One that's just like, these fucking mages just cheating. I do this myself.
Yeah, you know, and like that's the thing. Like, I like that idea of overcoming something that seems like it's very easy with dedication, you know. And to be fair, like, magic in the game, in the world, is not easy by any means. Like, wizards have to dedicate lots of time to it. Even sorcerers have to dedicate training to not killing themselves by blowing themselves up by accident. There's just a lot of there's a lot of fun ways to approach characters in all the games, you know. It's just picking that one that tickles your fancy the best, that suits your particular needs. 5e I find really boring as far as character building is concerned, because most of the decision just comes from what class I'm picking at what levels, and that's it. Where Pathfinder comes from, you know, what feats am I picking for my class, what feats am I picking for my skill feats, what feats am I picking for my general feat, how can I make this class play in a very different way. I think that's what it is. Pathfinder, I can alter how a class plays specifically. In 5e, you don't alter how a class plays, you just add other class features to it. You combine class features, which is good. And like 5th edition does have a lot of choices. It really does. Every time you level up, not only do you have a choice of picking any other class, but you also have a choice of picking any other class's subclasses. When you really think about it, when you level up in 5e, you have hundreds of choices you could make.
Some with some pretty interesting results. There are some very fun character combos out there. I mean, like, one of my favorites is Bardlock. I really like Bardlock as a combination.
And there's a lot of really interesting subclasses, too. I actually really like the Kensei Monk.
Kensei Monk's cool, because it's one of the few monks that isn't really, like, spiritual. They just kind of like that. They just have weapons and they use it cool. At least that's what I remember.
Well, they have ways of like making their weapon do more damage, be better. I don't know. I really liked how the Kensei Monk really worked.
Pathfinder, though, lets me do the one thing I wanted to do since I got into D&D is like make just a brawler monk. 5e is getting around. Actually, there's some better ways to do it now, especially after Tasha. Like the playing just a fighter with unarmed is actually like not garbage. But I really just want to play monks that just punch you. Don't have to deal with key shit. Don't have to do like any like monastic training, meditation, all that shit. No, I just want to play a dude who's really good at punching you, and like can catch arrows out of the air and do all that weird shit. I don't want to do all this like fucking like key spells and all that. Monk without key stuff, I can easily do in Pathfinder.
Yeah. Even like the martial artist dedication is so good because you get a lot of the good like monk stuff without actually going into monk. Plus like grievous blow, you just get a power attack with your fist, you know. And like I think it's like Path of Steel or whatever, where you can just run by a bunch of people and attack like 3 people in a 3-action move. Like there's a lot of stuff that you can really do to make just a melee character. I've been looking into a melee barbarian or a hand-to-hand barbarian build.
Yeah. Also, yeah, like one of the issues with like multi-classing in 5e is that a lot of times it feels like you just got a dead level in there. I'm convinced that's one reason why Warlock's just a really common class to go into, despite the fact that like it's a charisma class and like every class uses charisma. But also the fact that like the best, to be honest, if you're just doing a quick multi-class, the best levels for Warlock is 1 and 2. Like the 3rd level is like fine, but it's like not necessary. You can do just fine with 2 levels or 1 or 2 levels in Warlock and just like function just fine.
Yeah, and that's kind of the rough thing. And also like one of the reasons why I didn't like the multi-classing in 5e a lot is intentionally choosing to multi-class meant I was not getting certain class features for the initial class that I picked. You had to make that choice, you know. Like, do I want this ability eventually, or do I want to get these abilities? And because so many classes were so front-loaded, it was almost always better to multi-class.
Yeah, I mean, it just sometimes it's just a better option. Like the Bardlock I played currently, it's on one hand like, man, I miss my Warlock features, but on the other hand, like now I get to finally have like higher level bard shit.
Right. Yeah. And like Warlock is actually probably my favorite class from 5e, purely because the evocations are really cool. And again, they're like feats. There's something you pick up uniquely every once in a while for a class. And I guess it's no wonder why I like the most feat class of 5e.
Though, I mean, like, I disagree because the best class in 5e is Paladin. It's another unbiased statement for all of you, but best class in 5e is Paladin.
I disagree, but
well, you're wrong. I'm right.
You're wrong.
Argument ends there. I am the mod.
I'm the you were nothing without me. All the platforms you have power on, I made.
I'm gonna start a channel coup.
I see. Well, good luck with that. And like I agree somewhat, Flame Up. There's definitely some times where there's things I want to do in Pathfinder. I just like, I can't get it because I need these feats to do certain things. Like you just eventually hit your feat limit. But I definitely feel like in 5e, it's a lot more of that feeling like your choices are coming at costs. Where in Pathfinder, it feels like your choices are how much you can fit into a bag. You know what I mean? Like, in the end, you both still get the same amount, but one feels like you're losing something for it, while the other one just feels like you're running out of room.
Yeah, a lot of 5e multi-classing is like balancing the opportunity cost of staying in your level or taking new shit.
Yeah, and that's also another thing as well, is just like how quickly you get access to some of the things you want, because you're just like, oh, I can't wait to attack twice every time I make an attack action, but I do want to pick up some fighter levels, so I guess I won't be able to get an extra attack until level 8 or 9.
I had that struggle in a campaign, a home game. I have a paladin blade singer, and yeah, I couldn't double attack. It was kind of sad. I got around it with offhand attack, but like I only got multi-class recently and we're like high-ish level. I just took 2 levels of wizard for the blade singer shit.
Yeah, and those 2 levels, like, that's also another thing. Like in D&D, and I've been feeling this more and more every time I play in Vale's game. You have a lot of XP you need to level up. In Pathfinder, you always have 1,000, you know?
Yeah.
Give or take what you put on the sliding scale. So it always feels like you're relatively close on that, even if it does take a lot of sessions to get there. Though I will say that in Pathfinder 2e, you probably level way faster than you do in 5e. Probably. I don't think that's a bad thing, though.
Depending on the scale or like rate you want, but that can easily be adjusted on the DM side. You want to go faster.
Yeah, and then you can always do capstone. So I know a lot of people who swear by capstone or milestone.
It feels worse on a player end, but it ends up like a little better balanced. But sometimes you want to get that big number.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. My players enjoy getting experience, especially because we do player awards.
XP stuff's a good time, and it's because you want to write down, see like all the big numbers you get. It's very fun to have a session where you're like, oh, I got a fuck ton of XP, and you like your thing skyrockets like to the next level.
Yep. I mean, I prefer XP, but only if there's actual player awards. Because player awards, I feel, are good. They just feel good. They're cathartic, you know? if you did a moment that felt really good, you get a reward for it, and you can be like, ah, yay,
It's
I
cool
got
to
an
be
award
told
for
you
that.
did a thing cool.
It's also just a good habit to make your players like pay attention to and respect each other's roleplay more.
Yeah.
But I've also been lucky not to have like an XP goblin sitting there just been like, oh, I did this, I did this, I did this. Do I get XP for that? Most of my players are like, have enough of etiquette to not nominate themselves, at least more than necessary.
I don't think I've ever nominated myself either. So it just feels weird.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't mention a moment, but I'm sure it may have happened at some point.
Maybe. If it's happened with knowing our group, it's probably a thing of, oh yeah, that was really cool. We agree.
Yeah.
We were
or it was more of a, I liked our moment, you know, when we did this. And
that's the only one I do.
Yeah.
Which is more of like, I enjoyed talking to your character in game, or this moment we had. It was really fun to play.
I only played AD&D like very little, so I honestly don't remember that system whatsoever.
I have seen what the book looks like. That is my exposure to AD&D.
And you only have a problem with murder hobos if you, as the DM, permit your players to murder hobo. Like, if the problem is players are trying to murder hobo for XP, then just don't give them XP. I'm glad I don't have any murder hobos for party members. I don't even think I even have heard many stories of murder hobos for the sake of gaining XP, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, luckily we just play with people who are like all kind of just want to do the same thing we do.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the secret sauce in the end. D&D is great when you're playing with people who are similarly minded. Everyone's on the same page trying to tell the same narrative. I think that's the one thing I really need to start more enforcing with newer groups is the mentality that the story is better when we're helping each other tell a narrative, and to motivate them to more jump into other people's, narratives to help them out, or to like watch out for those story cues so they can ask the question, like, hey, what's wrong? I see that you're not, your usual self when your characters are acting mopey or whatever. Like, sometimes you just need that narrative wingman to help you out in your scene so that you can get that character development that you're so craving.
True. Good old-fashioned communication, fixing problems.
It's in the end, like, the only way you can tell a narrative, and I was actually thinking about this before, and I was thinking, like, man, it would be great if there's just a scenario where the DM and the player are so in sync, or the players are so in sync with each other that, like, those story moments you always tell in your head of something cool your character does, everyone is helping you build into that and build up to it. Yeah, but it's like you gotta give as much as take, If you're constantly dropping RP cues, you gotta be asking yourself, are you picking up RP cues as much as you're dropping down? That's the secret to the sauce. It's not something you can do selfishly. It has to be a give and take. I know that Takuma, Suzanne's been doing absolutely amazing in the Friday game, trying to pick up on player cues, asking questions, doing all that kind of stuff. it's a lot of it just has to be, everyone has to be on the lookout for telling great stories. You know, you can't just be sitting there focusing on what your character is doing. You gotta be paying attention to the narrative as a whole. I think that's why something like Critical Role actually really works out too. Because Critical Role, a lot of the cast members are always like really in tune with each other, and they're really there to like tell narratives together. And you can watch in any given session of Critical Role, the other players are watching each other in their scenes, and sometimes you'll see them waiting there, waiting to jump in to help in the narrative, or are contemplating doing so. That's what makes a really good character. Sometimes it's even forcing it on another character, you know, when they're not expecting it, but you just come up with character development and like, hey, so about that thing you did the other day, and they're like, oh shit, like, I thought we got past this. Oh no. You know, our anime game was really good for that in a lot of ways. A lot of the characters were really good at either going to each other for narrative bits, or being there and being like, hey, you all right over there? You seem to be thinking pretty hard, you know.
True. RP never ends.
I mean, the game really shines when we're all trying to help each other be cool. That's it, you know. Like, I can't even remember the last time I've seen players try to set up like a combination about move in combat with any kind of stuff. And that's actually a great thing about Pathfinder 2e. There's a lot of ways you can set players up for success in that. Whether it's a demoralize, whether it's a bon mot, whether it's a trip maneuver, grab maneuver, whatever, you know. You can set each other up for some pretty sick combos by applying certain debuffs or preventing the enemy from moving, or, you know, all kinds of free stuff like that. So,
oh yeah, it's a lot of like cool abilities like that.
Sniping Duo is also an amazing dedication. I really like it because
so fun.
It's just you pick someone and you both start helping each other out like crazy, and you start like making each other flat-footed. It's really good because it prevents your ally from blocking you with partial cover. There's all kinds of really cool stuff out there. And building that way, and I think it was Flame Loud, I want to say, who was mentioning way at the beginning. Someone mentioned they really like making support build kind of characters, and you know, that's you know, like, characters like that are gold. You know, if you're making a character who's really into just helping everyone else with their narrative, with their combat, with whatever, you become very instrumental in a game sometimes.
I'd actually be super excited to see how Sniping Duo goes out if y'all decide to do that in the Tuesday game.
That's what we're currently set up to do anyway. We have a ranger and a swashbuckler.
Nice. Yeah, tell me how that goes.
I'm interested, and it's gonna be an at-sea campaign. There's gonna be a lot of on boat or near water kind of stuff. So
hell yeah,
I'm very excited. I love water stuff. It does not come up enough.
I can't wait to hear about all the Pirates of the Caribbean shenanigans y'all get up to. Especially if you have a swashbuckler in your party.
That's true.
But
Swashbuckler is also a really good teammate. They have a lot of good abilities that can just make their party members really excel.
Oh yeah, that's. I mean, partially with the build I have for my gunslinger that I'm still trying to fully iron out all the kinks of. But like one of the things is like really setting anyone up for demoralize.
And my apologies. I think it was you, Nuggetsino. Uh, still want to try making the medic summoner. It's actually really funny. I was thinking earlier, I was inspired by some art. A revenge phantom, kind of JoJo build in a sense. I want to have a summon comes out, just big, scary dude, whatever, comes out, beats the shit out of people, especially because summoners are notorious for being like kind of defenseless without their summon. I just want to take like the martial artist dedication, and just the summoner's just there, doesn't do anything, but someone's just like, attack the summoner quick, or it'll get rid of the summon, and then the summoner's just like, oh, you're approaching me, and then beats the shit out of them for, coming to attack them. I think that'd be such a hilarious character build.
I think I thought you were gonna go into like it's a big buff scary like summon, but it's really like a really nice medic character. Because then if it's JoJo inspired, you can name it like Dr. Feelgood.
That's true.
Hell yeah, we'll just make JoJo characters in Pathfinder.
It's so easy with the summoner.
It's so fucking easy. I still want to do summoner. I have my the other character idea I had, the summoner who involuntarily summons their demon ancestor, who like they become an imbue instead of like summon a separate thing. They become their summon, because that feat is so fucking cool. Despite the fact it negates you from getting a lot of really cool abilities. It's very cool.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you wanted to like mention a build, right? This whole time. It was the thing you wanted to like talk about early, and you weren't sure for the timing for.
I was just talking. I already mentioned all the builds that I've been like working on.
Oh, okay.
Mainly those, like the only one, like yeah, exactly. The only ones I've been like really fucking around with is like I'll be real, the martial artist weapon improv like character, that's just Kiryu. That's just a Yakuza character.
Right.
And then the rest is like my gunslinger. I've been like toiling away at my automaton. Just have a lot of builds like floating around, nothing concrete yet. Because once I actually get confirmed to play in like one campaign, I'll actually come up with a set character.
What heritage is that? Flame loud. And while we wait for that answer. Yeah, I don't know. I think the current build I'm working on is a barbarian. A barbarian. I was thinking about implementing it into the Tuesday game, but now it's not going to make sense because he won't be there. A barbarian martial artist who's a tiefling, but like their tiefling genetics came in really hard and they look like a demon. And just making like a, oh god, what's it? It's the Ashura main protagonist guy, essentially.
Oh yeah, Asura's Wrath.
Yeah, Ashura's Wrath guy. Yeah, pretty much like that in Pathfinder.
Oh yeah, he's very cool.
It's so easy to make a build like that too. All you have to do is just pick a fighting style that doesn't have an agile finesse trait, and then boom. Not only do you get your badass barbarian damage, but you can also do various maneuvers as well.
Oh yeah. Cause like, man, what that reminds me, like, what a fucking game where every time I've heard someone recommend the game, they don't recommend playing it, they recommend watching all the cutscenes on YouTube.
I've watched the cutscenes on YouTube, so
I need to watch the Asura's Wrath movie.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, essentially. It's like I think it's like 3 hours.
I think it's longer than that. Remember
might
being
be.
like, "Oh, this is gonna be a multi thing." Though like, also this was brought up like way earlier when you mentioned like your homebrew concept stuff. That's like, that were made up with playing Halo. I thought you were going to go into their little headcanon of the large D&D campaign that is Halo and all the bullshit that the player playing Master Chief gets up to.
You mean Master Shepard?
Well, I need to get a picture of Master Shepard to be on. I still need to go. I need to go back and play it.
You should screenshot it and post it in the Discord.
I can do that. I could do that after the stream. Master Shepard needs to finish the fight in the Mass Effect universe. He already finished the fight in the Halo universe, and now he's looking for Cortana.
Yeah, I think after the holiday season, I might look for some playtesters for the stuff I got, because I've invented rules for guns, and guns use lots of dice.
Ooh.
There's just a few kinks I need to work out, but I think generally I have a really good idea. And due to how the armors work in the game system, guns are not necessarily super overpowered, but guns do a very particular job of making enemies vulnerable or pinning them down.
Very cool.
So we'll see how it goes. It's the world concept's very interesting so far, and I want to like talk more about the secrets of it and what makes it what it is, but I want the players to discover that as we do like these chapters, just so that then I can incorporate that into the lore, taking your reactions as you find out, you know, the surprises and the twists.
Hell yeah, I'm excited to see what you got cooking.
And yeah, I mean, like, I know I got people for it. I just, whether I have time for it is another problem. And because Pathfinder is still kind of like the breadwinner on the channel, I can't just be like, hey, so we're gonna necessarily like cut out our short campaigns for it. I wasn't willing to do it for the Tuesday game, but the Friday game, it's a lot harder because the whole point of it is that it's short so people can jump in from the Discord and play some Pathfinder, which is fun. So it's just about finding another day for it, pretty much.
Which I feel like once shit blows up and you're able to like hire more people to work on it, more days will open up. You know, lower your own workload so you can increase other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like in the end, that's what will let me do more things, is when I can delegate tasks. Right now, it's mostly me, and then I have you editing, which saves me about like 3 hours per video. So it's I mean, because I also need to start producing 2 videos a week, I think soon, probably after the holiday season, but
yeah,
sometime probably halfway through January, I'll start producing 2 videos per week, and maybe even getting up to 3, depending, as we ramp the channel up, getting ready for 1,000 subs. So, I mean, we'll still probably hit 400 by the end of December,
wouldn't be surprised.
Which is not as much as I'd like, but it's still like pretty much keeping 100 per month. So keeping on track with that. And I do think that once we release like Barbarian and some of the lighter ones, like Fighter and Rogue, I'm sure are going to get a lot of views.
Oh, you're going to get a lot of views for Rogue.
We're going to hit a lot of those milestones way earlier than expected. But I didn't anticipate the holiday season well and suffered for it. But it's okay. I know better now. It's a learning experience. But all right, well, that's pretty much it for this stream. I apologize to everyone for the inconsistent quality of the stream. It seems to have leveled out and is doing much better now. It's probably just an internet provider thing, unfortunately. We'll just have to see and hope it doesn't happen. We will not be here next week. Next week is Christmas. Specifically, well, next week is the 23rd. But I think my co-host will not be here. And
I will not be at my computer.
I will probably be getting to bed early that night because I gotta leave early on the 24th to go to families. So yeah, no table talk next week. No Shadows That Laugh next week. There will still be a video coming out on Saturday that week. I believe it will be The Witch. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, if you're watching the VOD or if you're here and you have not done so already, please follow, like, and or subscribe depending on what platform you're on. We try to do table talk every week except for holidays, obviously, as well as we do other tabletop content and other sessions. We just started a new session for Tuesdays for Pathfinder 2E, so you can check it out there. And if you want the chance to possibly play with us in the future, go ahead and go to the link down in the description or below on Twitch, where you can join our Discord, and come have some fun with us. I always recruit there first for any of my games, so be on the lookout. Now, I do always make an announcement a few days ahead of time that I will be recruiting, and I'll tell everyone what day I'll be recruiting. So it's nothing that you have to necessarily be up to date day by day for, but you do need to at least be paying enough attention on the channel. So yeah, I think beyond that, just be ready on Saturday morning for the Barbarian video. It's coming out. I'm very excited for that one.
It's working to be a fun one.
Nope. With that, let's go ahead and say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.